Today I'm going to be doing a product photo shoot with this Immi Ramen that I was sent at no cost, so at least keep that in mind. But I'll take some photos of it, I'll try out the ramen itself. Also included is this topping mix, so I'll at least have a bit more of a better visual interest to the ramen when I actually heat it up. I have the variety 1 that has 3 different types inside. There's the black garlic chicken, spicy beef, and tom yum shrimp. And you can see the ingredients. Here's some of the highlights on their nutrition facts. 24 grams of protein, 5 grams of total carbs, 15 grams of high fiber, 100% plant-based, and low calories. This is the 6-pack, comes in a simple box. I don't want to damage the packaging. That's what it looks like. Inside here, it's got dried cabbage, carrot, tofu, soybean, mushroom, chive, corn. It's a product of China. The ramen itself is a product of Malaysia. I'll be using Nikon Z5. It's a nice workhorse camera at this point. I have the 2 memory card slots filled with an instant backup. So if you're doing product photography, it makes sense to me to have that instant backup in the camera, just in case. You never know if a memory card might stop working. I have the 40mm f2 on here. That could be a potential option. I'll probably be using this 85mm 7 Artisans lens because it's a longer focal length. 28mm. I have these macro tubes. What you do is you attach it with a lens so you can focus closer. First up, I'm just going to take photos of the packages. Try to find the best position for this. This is pretty simple. What I do usually is use 85 for thumbnails and stuff for YouTube. And I take a picture. I'm using full manual mode. It's simple enough. I'm going to use a relatively high shutter speed, so maybe 125th of a second, and then just let it do auto ISO in this case for the moment. You can see the 2 different lights I have here. One is a panel light and also a studio light with a large softbox clamshell style lighting. And that's set at 20% power. It's a 5600 Kelvin color temperature light. It's a Weedlight Ninja 20. One up there is a GVM. I also have it set to the same color temperature. Maybe pull out the 3 different types. Further from the background is good. I'm limited on space, and I could use different apertures. There's a lot of reflection on these packages. In this case, it's tough for me to see the screen, even though this screen tilts. That's as far as it tilts that direction. Maybe I could do something like that. Yeah, that actually works. Let me swap to the 28. Considering the key light is over here, I want that to hit the packages and stuff. And this will give a more dynamic look. It's going to be like the epic shot. Go 5.6. We'll at least try this out. I'll have to swap back to the 85. And I need something in the background. This might work. Okay, it doesn't have enough weight to it. So I've got this lens. This is pretty heavy. There we go. Something even longer focal length would be nice, but this is the extent of what I have available. I might have to use a macro tube here, we'll see. So what I can do is get the 11mm one. So now there's a tube here. Now I can focus closer. The reflections are not ideal with this. I could even put some tape, maybe. That's probably as good as it gets. That is very, very noticeable, those creases. The package is the main thing that's messing me up. Those might be too close, we'll see. But it's kind of the idea I had with this. These folders were 25 cents each. This might be too yellow. Yeah, it's like on the limit. It's just plastic reflections. So I got these in Japan a long time ago. For photos, probably those ones. 2006, so they're pretty old at this point. The negative here is that this is at different levels. Having it like kind of on the same plane is good. You can do focus stacking and stuff like that, but the topping mix was out of focus at 1.8. And I can put something in the bowl so that I'll do 5.6. Okay, that's pretty decent. That is a composition I'm happy with. Try the 28 on there. So in this case, I think I would want these to be more forward. Bad idea to put chopsticks vertically. This is one of those situations I can pull out the macro tubes again. And actually this might be a good thing for the 40. There we go, that's what I want. But that's what it looks like with the 2 extension tubes. Let's see how this works. I assume I need enough water to, that might be too much water. This needs to go in here. It's probably more than a tablespoon, but I might need to put the water back. I'll use the cup. Well, I'll just leave that for a little bit. I guess it'll help if I put this in here. I don't usually use like full packets of stuff. No, 900 milligrams of sodium. But I mean, it's what people expect with instant ramen. It's starting to look like something. Yeah, it looks pretty decent. Maybe I need a little bit more water. So I used a lot of that topping. It's still kind of bunched up. The 40's coming in decent here. I should include that in all the photos because it's part of the thing. It's about 28. How to make that look decent is the question. Let's swap back to the 40. Now I will actually try it. Try it out. I loaded it up with the topping, so it's more of like a lot of who knows what, but here it is. Very unique noodle. There is a good amount of spice to the broth. It's kind of squeaky. Enjoying it more as I'm eating it more. I'd say it's similar to if you buy white bread versus wheat bread. This is more like wheat bread compared to white bread on a sandwich. And just generally, to me at least, wheat bread is not as enjoyable on a sandwich as white bread. I've been showing the results throughout the video. You can see what I actually got out of this. Fun little photo shoot, trying this Immi Ramen and taking some pictures. You don't need a bunch of specialty equipment, but obviously having good lighting is key. Having a decent camera is another consideration, but use what you have and just try things out. I tried those folders out. Is it functional? Maybe not because they're pretty small, but it did work with the small packages, I think. So that's nice. And the cost to try that out was very, very minimal. So I think it worked out for at least seeing if it could turn into something cool. With the Nikon Z5, having that mix of different lenses was super beneficial, and the macro tubes were definitely useful. Being able to get close-ups of the ramen itself so you could see what it looks like up close could be a really nice additional photo to a set of photos, showing people what a product is, what it looks like, what they might imagine it could be if they purchased it and checked it out. I use the 85mm lens a lot for my thumbnail photos on YouTube, but the 40 and the 28 in this situation worked pretty well depending on the context. With the 28, I was able to get some more epic type photos. It's wider and get lower and makes them more prominent in the image. With the 40, when I was actually cooking the ramen and trying it out and trying to get some photos of the ramen itself, the 40 was a good mix of the two different lenses that I was able to get close enough and do it by myself. Obviously, I could use a tripod and set that up and do like timered photos to have my hands in there as well at the same time, but with the 40, I was able to like just kind of make it work well enough. That was a fun photo shoot. If you want to check out the ramen, I'll have links in the video. You can potentially try it out and see if you're interested in it. It is very health conscious, so keep that in mind. Flavor-wise, texture-wise, it's quite different than traditional instant ramen, but if you're curious, maybe check it out. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this little photo shoot. Scott Banzai, thanks.